Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this first podcast session for the Youth Veterinarian Initiative, YVI, for the 2022-2023 academic year. I am Dr. Monique Y. Wells. I am the founder and CEO of the Wells International Foundation, which is bringing you the Youth Veterinarian Initiative. And I am happy to have with us today a fantastic speaker, musician, and STEAM education professional, Julia Brochey, who's going to be talking to us today about when animals dance. Before I go into that, though, I want to just introduce the concept of YVI to those of you who may not know about it. YVI, the Youth Veterinarian Initiative, is a program that was launched last June, in collaboration with Sharita Herring and her nonprofit organization, the Philanthropy Alliance Foundation. And for a whole year, we did podcasts on various aspects of veterinary medicine and other animal-focused professions. The purpose of the Youth Veterinarian Initiative is to introduce underrepresented minority youth, specifically Black and Brown youth, to the field of veterinary medicine, and also to introduce these youth to people, Black and Brown people who are active in the profession, so that they can potentially envision themselves becoming veterinary professionals or professionals who work with animals in some other capacity. So that is the purpose of YVI. We've done so much over the course of the 2021-2022 academic year, and I'm just thrilled that we are launching this second year of the program with an expansion that is going to include a book club and merit badge program. And kids who come to these podcast sessions are going to earn merit badges, and kids who actually interview our speakers are going to earn merit badges, and kids who read books about STEAM activities are going to earn merit badges. So that is YVI. That's where we're going in this coming year. And I'm going to circle back and introduce our speaker now, Julia Brochey. So let me pull up just a second. Wrong thing. Here we go. So Julia Brochey has been a music educator for 18 years. She studied classical and flamenco guitar, voice, piano, bass, and flamenco dance. And she has recorded multiple albums and been featured on several recordings from avant-garde to jazz to rap. In 2009, she founded a music school and later began the nonprofit organization called Through Arts, which promotes arts education. Apart from this work, she is focused on gifted education, particularly in arts integration and STEAM. And today she is going to help us explore the experiences that animals have with music and why they have those experiences. And as you watch and listen, you are going to gain a better understanding of how sound is experienced by all creatures, including humans, and learn how to identify subtleties in animal behavior. So I am going to turn it over to Julia. I am going to bring up her slide presentation because she's unable to do so. So let me just do that really quickly. And then she will get us going. Share. All right, and let me pull up.
Perfect.
Here. And here. And here we go.
Thank you. So yes, this is our intro page. Monique and I were speaking just a little bit before everyone joined about how interesting this topic is. And there was a lot I didn't know going into it, and discovered quite a few interesting things about not just my own dog who is sitting here on my lap with me, but so many different animals within the animal kingdom. So I recorded some voice with the slide presentation.
Okay, so I wasn't expecting these things to come up one at a time. So you just have to bear with me and tell me when to click
No
and I
problem.
will.
You can go ahead and click now. Yeah, that was a little interesting for me as well. I just pressed the space bar. So what we'll do is we'll start with this little cockatoo here. This is Snowball. And yeah, let's go ahead and share the audio. Thank you, Monique.
Okay. Okay, I've clicked it.
Uh-oh. I can see that it's moving. Oh, and there
Can
goes
you
our
not hear?
cockatoo. No, I can't. I'm not sure about the other.
Can anybody hear? Okay, let me pause for a second.
Sure, no problem.
And let me see. Stop video, mute. Let's see. Microphone. Audio settings. Okay, I can hear myself and my speaker is working.
Okay.
And everybody could hear me when I was speaking, right? So I don't know why this is not. This is Cockatoo Dancing to Happy.
It is.
Let
Yeah,
me.
Go ahead.
And it's not. All right. I know where this video is, so I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to try to pull it up directly, not in your.
Perfect. That sounds wonderful.
All right, so let me escape.
So while you're doing that, I'll just let people know a little bit about this cockatoo, Snowball. Snowball is an internet sensation, actually. He has been featured on The Morning Show and Inside Edition. He's in various commercials, and he was the inspiration for quite a bit of research, actually, and was one of the first animals that I came across when I was looking up animals who dance. So it's interesting because he inspired so much, and you can almost see the research. You can kind of visualize the research just starting from him, and what we've come to understand based on his behavior.
Let's see. Snowball dancing. Williams. Okay. That's this. I'm going to share my screen again.
Perfect.
All right, so let's hope that this one works.
Monique, make sure like if there's a closed caption setting, make sure that's turned off. And you may have to mute yourself. Sometimes it's the speaker may have to mute self. But check if you see something that says closed caption and turn it off.
I do not see closed caption. I see security, participants chat.
On the video?
Oh, on the video. Hold on. Share screen. Share. I do not see. See, this is closed caption. It says closed caption unavailable. So I'm
Okay,
going to
great.
click.
But mute yourself.
Okay, hold on.
That's okay.
Oh, still can't hear it.
Yeah, that's okay. So we can see him dancing, right? And he's just all over. Anyone who does a search for Snowball, the dancing cockatoo, will see him dancing to this or Michael Jackson. Monique, you said you came across a couple of other ones. I think they have one by Fleetwood Mac as well on YouTube.
The Backstreet Boys.
The Backstreet
Boys and Queen.
Right, Queen. And I think the Backstreet Boys, from my understanding, that was one of the first songs that his owners noted him dancing to. So that was kind of his first famous interaction there. But yeah, there he is. And some amount of head bobbing, as I mentioned later in the slides, is actually, it's pretty common, as is the leg lifting, which he does a lot in the Queen video. But that happens sometimes just regardless of whether or not music is playing.
So I'm going to stop my share.
Sure.
And I'm going to bring your slides back up and you can just talk us through. Share. And here.
All right. Okay, so yes, so this is our quick look at him. He has approximately 14 dance moves. He shows creativity and improvisation with dancing. And he, unlike other animal species, was not trained to dance. So a lot of what we see online, we see animals dancing. And I think the assumption initially is, oh, well, animals they naturally feel the music, all animals, but most of them have been trained. Snowball was not. So he's a bit unique. He's not the only bird to dance, but not all of them do. Go ahead to the next slide.
Okay. Why are you not dancing?
It's Saturday. It just doesn't want to wake up. Maybe, I don't know.
There
we
we
know
go.
tech, it has a mind of its own.
Yeah,
So
I think there's just a delay.
Yeah, no problem. So here are the 5 key traits that researchers have found might enable animals to dance. And this is pretty current research. As you can see, this is from 2019. So this is complex vocal learning, the ability to imitate movements, the ability to learn complex sequences of movements, communicative gestures, and the tendency to form long-term social bonds. And we know that cockatoos and other birds, such as parrots, have the ability to develop these long-term bonds with their owners as well as other birds. Okay.
Okay, I hit it.
No problem.
There we go.
So this is important because Snowball is one example of how one animal can experience and respond to music. And of course, there's so much more. So the information from Snowball really inspired a lot of further research, as I mentioned earlier. And this is pretty important because we have a lot of things to consider when we're thinking about how animals respond, not just to music, but to sound as well. So the relevant question for this program and for our aspiring veterinarians is, does music have health benefits for animals? And if so, what kind of music do they enjoy? What instrument or instruments, and which songs in particular? It seems like from what I've seen of Snowball, and then there's actually a sea lion who I should mention, whose name is Ronan. She's a California sea lion who was trained to move to the beat of the music. It seems that it doesn't really matter so much which genre, although research is still being conducted about that, but it's really more their perception of the beat. So, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting to me because I've seen some things online just in preparing for your talk. I've seen a lot of perhaps anecdotal information that says that animals don't really like rock music, or which, I mean, Snowball is obviously opposed to that conclusion. But everything that I've seen says that animals like classical music, they like things that are slow, and I mean, another one bites the dust is not slow.
Exactly. So there is some contradictory information out there, right? And yes, a lot of anecdotal information, but I have come across that as well, where rock music doesn't seem to be enjoyed by animals. But yeah, you're right. Snowball seems to contradict that. But researchers do say that certain types of music can help reduce anxiety, lower heart rate and respiration, alleviate behavioral challenges. But yeah, you're right. So those sustained notes, those longer notes, they seem to enjoy consistent rhythm, and then less complexity. So maybe one instrument or 2 instruments, not too much, and a slower tempo can help ease anxiety. But then some researchers say it just doesn't have very much impact at all, and that we project our musical interests onto our pets and other animals, just because we really want to have that connection. All right, next slide. Thank you. So these studies, not related to health necessarily, were just interesting to me. So a recent study, 2021, showed that cows produce more milk when they're listening to classical music. Cats couldn't care less about music unless it replicates their communication experience, which was somewhat not surprising to me. So there actually, believe it or not, are some musicians and scientists who have produced music exclusively for animals, especially cats, which sounds a little bit like purring. So different sort of music directly written for these animals. And then animals like marine animals, elephants, and bats might have the ability to track new and changing beats.
Bats have, well, they make sounds that we can't hear. Is there something about that that is relevant to what we're talking about today?
That's a great question. Aside from just them sort of fitting into that category of maybe having that a certain communication method and then being able to track beats, I'm not entirely sure. That I think is where more research should be done. And I think some of our veterinary students would really benefit from looking into that, since that sort of is part of that same category of why an animal might feel the beat and look like they're maybe dancing. But I want to back up for just a quick moment, and you can keep the slide there, but I want to talk really quickly about Western music, because what I found was that aside from just maybe thinking about classical music and thinking about consistent beats and thinking about these elongated notes, we haven't really looked at different musical scales, which is important, I think. At least it's important to humans. So we've done these studies, and I've dug just a little tiny bit, not enough probably, just given the time that I had, into how people have explored music of other cultures and how animals explore that or experience that. So that would be something too to think about. There are so many different instruments, there are so many different scales, different sounds that it seems like that should be explored.
Absolutely. Cheryl, you have a question?
Yes. I was just wondering how widespread the research is, and you kind of just touched on that a little bit. Like, so, is it widespread across the world? Are there different? Is America more interested in this research than other countries? Are veterinarians more interested? Are scientists, and just how widespread is this research, and the types of animals that are being studied?
Right, that's an excellent question, and one that I was thinking of, which definitely brought me to that question. Well, what are the studies like in other countries? I don't know the answer to that, but that's definitely worth looking into. And is it mostly our pets or our animals, our farm animals, that we're interested in studying here in the US? Well, we have different pets in different areas of the world, right? So what does that look like? Definitely something to be explored.
Yeah, because when I saw that slide about the cows, that's what made me think. If cows produce more milk, when and you wonder, well, will chickens lay more eggs if depending on different types of music? So that's why I asked.
Right. Yeah, there's
Excellent.
so much to be done here, I think. So can music help? The answer, I think, is perhaps. I think it's safe to say that all animals kind of experience music differently. And of course, we think about the structure of the animal. How one interprets is just going to be different from another. So the safe thing is to say, yeah, maybe it helps. It's fun to think that it does, and we can hope that it does.
Yeah. Can I go to the next slide?
You may. Thank you.
Okay.
So we still have, with that in mind, that, okay, maybe this helps. We use music therapy for humans. Why not for animals? Some veterinarians play live or recorded music for their patients. People leave music on for work, or leave music on for their pets when they leave for work. And some people sing to animals. There are videos, and I don't know, Monique, if you came across any in your looking around, but there's at least one person who sings opera music to cows. Who has been featured on a couple of news broadcasts. And there is a veterinarian out of Colorado, actually, who I believe had a show on Animal Planet. And he has been known to play guitar and sing to his patients before they go into surgery. So there is definitely the belief there, yeah, that it does have some soothing benefit.
Oh, that's fantastic. I've seen videos of people playing either like soft rock or pop music or classical music at a fence, and then the horses or the cows will come up and listen. I saw one video of a man playing a violin, and the horse, there were, I think, 3 horses, and one of the horses started bobbing its head like this in time with the music. But that wasn't a very long video, so I don't know, if that was just a thing, or if the horse did that for the whole song or what. But
Right.
it is fascinating. And I saw a man playing a viola, and the cows just ran up to listen.
Right. I think my first experience with this kind of, I don't know, I want to say like this anecdotal evidence. My mom, when I was a little girl, she used to tell the story of when she was a little girl, she would sing to, I think, goats, and she would just sing in the middle of the field and they would all come running up to her. So yeah, so there's definitely, it just makes you go, I just wonder, right? They do, if nothing else, they seem to be curious.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay.
Shall I advance?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, so what do we do with some of this information? I think as educators, we kind of know we want to look at the different variables, have students kind of open some questioning, right? So we consider animals' perception and human perception as well. What variables add to this perception? So I'm thinking about the horse that you mentioned, Monique. What else was going on? Would that be replicated if that situation occurred again? What do the ears, as I mentioned, the structure of the animal look like? What is the bone structure? Does this animal exercise? Do they not exercise? All these different things come into play. And when I think about that, I mentioned exercise because yesterday I took my dog Ozzy for a walk, and then I thought, I'm going to do some video and see if I can just capture some of his responses to music as I practiced. And I played these 2 songs that I played in the past, and his behavior was pretty different yesterday than it was when I've practiced those same 2 songs prior. At the same time, I was sitting in a different place. So there were things that maybe he was hot from his walk. We just don't know all of these things that we have to take into consideration. So I think it's important for students to understand that. Would these be able to be replicated is an important question. So we also consider the structure of music. And there again, I mentioned world music and how an animal might interpret that. What's the volume of it? And we want to be really, really careful with this one because animals are sensitive just as we are. They have sensitive hearing structures, and we want to be, just really aware of what their tolerances are too. So thinking about the structure of music, the volume of it, and how those variables might affect the animals as well. And then we consider the other questions that arise, which are always multiple. Once we answer one question, we have another and yet another, which is fascinating, I think, for students to be able to explore. Go ahead and advance. Thank you.
Okay.
So I've put together some interesting resources. This first one, called Listening to Waves, is one of my favorites that I share with my students. And when we were in the middle of the pandemic and I had to teach my music students online, I found them to be really engaged with this Listening to Waves website. So they have an opportunity to explore what sound waves look like. And why I thought this was interesting for vet students is you can record different sounds. You can record the sound of a bird singing outside. You can also just play some of the music that you're interested in and see what does that actually look like. And are there similarities maybe between what these sound waves look like and what the animals are experiencing? So maybe not just, oh, well, it's rock music, or, oh, it's just classical music, but what's happening within that music as well, that maybe we could catch just a little bit of a visual glimpse of by looking at some of these sound waves. The next resource is the sample composition for a cat. So if you're interested, you can definitely click on that one. It's a market right now. So then we have the bio-interactive, which I didn't do too much digging around with, but your question, Monique, how the bats kind of relate. This seems to be a resource for teachers where students can research elephants, birds, and bats and see what their communication patterns are. And then per your recommendation, Monique, a concert at the Denver Zoo, where we have classical musicians playing for animals. And then the singing veterinarian, whom I mentioned earlier, that veterinarian who's from Colorado, who sings for his pets and his patients.
Excellent. So
Okay.
these are just your
those are my references. I definitely wanted to give you a collection of my resources, so you can feel free to access those and find information out about all the things I mentioned here today.
Yeah. I'm just looking down the list really quickly. I saw the video about Snowball with his 14 dance moves. I mean, that's just mind blowing.
I know it's like more dance moves than I have for sure.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And the first video that we were trying to look at was Cockatoo. That was Snowball dancing to Pharrell Williams' Happy. And that's really a short one. It's only about a minute or so long. But I'm looking at the other ones. Soothing sounds, pet music therapy has calming benefits. There is a young woman who wanted to be on the call today. She's a fourth-year veterinary student and she has a Chihuahua, and she leaves her dog at home with music playing while she's at school. And she really wanted to be here to comment on that and just to ask questions.
Right.
So we'll have to talk to her later about this, but this is fantastic. And so these are references that our educators can use. And there are a lot of links here to YouTube between this page and the previous page. So this is absolutely fabulous.
Monique, I have
Yes, go ahead.
just a question. Will you be sharing this with all the teachers or with us, this video
Yes,
recording?
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Everything that we record on YVI goes onto our YouTube channel. And so everyone will have access to it in perpetuity.
Thank you, Monique.
You are welcome.
I think those stories, oh, go ahead.
I'm just asking, oh, here's one that says cats don't like human music, play this instead. I saw that one online, PBS. And the music track that's linked to in that article, it does sound like purring. It's just very, it's like that goes through, even if there are other sounds, you always hear that.
Right.
That sounds just like a cat.
It doesn't it though? I know when I read that, I thought, that's not too surprising.
So special.
You sort of expect that.
It's true.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to comment, like, I guess, when I first saw the title for, what we're going to be talking about today, I went, that's interesting. And then as you presented, Julia, I said, it's really not so different from people. We're animals. We all have different musical tastes. Some people don't really like music that much, others do. Some people don't like to dance, others do. Some people have a natural rhythm, others don't. So I was like, I guess I'm not as surprised as I thought I would be when I think about animals and dance and music too.
Exactly. And that I consider too, when I do think about those different variables that we talked about. So with us, I mean, why do we like a certain song? Well, what does it do? What does it remind us of? And what's our history as well, and our experiences there, aside from maybe where we grew up and the things that make us who we are in terms of even our structures internally. Vocalists, I was thinking this morning in my vocal training, we often discussed how things sound so different to us internally than they do externally. So right, when we're singing a song or when we're speaking, it's always interesting to hear what do I sound like on a recording? Well, it's so different from what I hear inside my head, because we have our muscles absorbing sound and bones vibrating and all these different things. So there's so many things that come up. Yes, for all animals. So all of these things play a role. Thank you for that.
Is this your last slide, Julia?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to stop share.
Perfect.
And I'm going to get this off of the background of my screen so that I can see the questions that I wanted to ask you.
Mhm.
And we can certainly have others ask questions as well. But I wanted to ask you, outside of Ozzy, do you play music for animals?
Outside of Aussie, no, I don't. I have not played at the zoo. So I had an Irish setter who seemed to like music years ago, calm music. He didn't like anything that was too intense. And so I had a rock band for a little while. He exited when the drums were playing. He was not interested in that. And so I think he's about the only one, maybe a fish or two. And there are some interesting studies about how fish perceive sound as well, but that's an entirely different and very deep rabbit hole that we won't go down.
Okay. When we talked about, we mentioned the Denver Zoo a little bit, and there are, I saw, excuse me, I saw 3 different YouTube videos. I think if you Google Denver Zoo and Colorado Symphony, this will come up. So they played different groups of 3 to 4 musicians. It wasn't the whole symphony that sat in front of a pen. 3 or 4 musicians would go to different parts of the zoo. So there's a video of the giraffes. There's a video of a single rhino listening to classical music, and there's a video of orangutans. And I found the giraffe one the most interesting because there were several giraffes in the pen, and there was one giraffe in particular that came up, and it was, sticking its head up like this. It looked like it was trying to sniff. And as they were filming, the film was obviously edited, right? But this one giraffe just started sort of like humping its back and kicking a little bit. And the zookeepers, the people who take care of the giraffes were like, oh, that really means that he is interested, and so they know how the giraffe behaves normally.
Mhm.
Well, they know how all the animals behave normally. And they're like, oh, so that means that it's really interested. And it's like for the rhino, they were like, you see how he's twitching that ear? That means it's interested.
And it's like a fly right beside its ear, maybe, that it's trying to get away. Right.
But that also is it's interesting to me because animals just have their own normal behaviors. And so what one animal would do that a person who knows would say, okay, that means that animal is interested in something. That same behavior in another animal might mean the opposite, or it might mean nothing at all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I did watch the one with the giraffes, and I thought that was it was absolutely precious to see that one just kind of hopping around. If you all get a chance to check that out, that would be fun. And I know students would be interested. I wondered if the Boeing moving back and forth was enticing as well. What is going on with that? And so it's that curiosity piece. I come into everything with a little bit of skepticism, like I'm very interested.
No, it's true. There are so many things that are coincidental and so many things that, we just don't know or they're not telling us. You can make things look any way you really want. But as you say, it's enough to pique your interest and just ask more questions.
Yes.
So
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you about Ozzy. So you said that Ozzy reacted to the same songs differently once because he was outside, or maybe because he had just finished walking, and another time he was in a different circumstance. Were you playing this music in the same actual room?
I was in the same room. So I was playing with, actually, my boyfriend is a guitarist and singer as well. So I was playing what is called a guitar viol, which is like, it's almost like a cello. I play it like a cello. It can be bowed, it's set up like a guitar. But I was playing that one style I was playing was pizzicato. So just quicker notes that are a little more muted. And then another song required that I bow the instrument. So it was in the same room, but my boyfriend and I were set up in separate places the second time, which was yesterday. The time prior, we were sitting right next to each other, and Ozzy was there. And he was way more calm when I was playing. And one song is a bit slower than the other two. So one of them actually is called Ice Cream Man, which is, I want to say, a Van Halen piece. And then the other was Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone. So Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone is obviously just slower. And, so he was relaxed when we were playing that one. And then when we kicked it up and we went to Ice Cream Man, he was very energetic. And this was the first time that we played it. So I thought, okay, maybe I can replicate this yesterday. And no, sorry, we were separate. He seemed distracted. But I will say it was pretty cute. And I wish the video was just way too big to send or to share. But he was sitting in the middle of us at one point, looking at Joe, my boyfriend, watching him play. And then when it was my turn to play, he turned around and he watched me. It was the bowing, though. When I started doing that, he moved over to my guitar viol, sat beside it and licked it, and then moved on. So that was his behavior yesterday. I don't know what it was about, but it seems like I'm going to have to do a little more playing around him of those two songs back to back and see what he does.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, he also seemed on to us because we had the phone set up to record and he was looking at it like, what is that? And what are you trying to do? So.
Okay. All right. Danielle, do you have any questions for Julia?
No, I have been sitting here taking notes and comparing this video to the reading list. And it's perfect for one of the books. So I'm happy that you requested the video, because I'm going to insert that into the book list. I can't wait to connect this as a PBL with my students. So I was just taking notes.
Good. I'm glad. It's a fun topic. And I think they also have these anecdotes, right? I'm sure so many of them have pets and they're like, oh, I sing to my dog, or this is the kind of music my cat can't handle, things like that. Definitely relevant to them.
For sure.
Monique, have we received the book list yet?
No, we're going to talk about that on Wednesday.
Okay. All right. I have one more question for Julia.
Okay.
All right. So just, and for you too, Monique, I mean, I don't know your thoughts on this. So my daughter has a dog who is 3 years old, and he is a Cavapoo, which is a Cocker. She acquired him when he was about 7 months old. And his name is Ziggy. And Ziggy will not calm down no matter what we do. He is the most friskiest, liveliest. He's all over the place. And so, I'm wanting to play some music to see if this might help him calm down a bit. The only time he calms down is really when we sit down, and when we're still, he gets still. But the minute we get up, like if we're on the couch, and the minute we get up, he's got to follow us. He's got to see what we're doing. And but even on walks, like he's constantly barking or jumping at people. He does need training. We know that. But your thoughts on music, like I mean, I guess it wouldn't hurt to try some classical music with Ziggy or something. Like, I don't think I would play rock because he's already got that energy spirit, but just, but just, could it help? Should we play it when he sleeps? I don't know. Your thoughts. Any thoughts?
I don't know. I think I'd definitely try classical, since that's the one. I think that it's dogs who that's been studied on the most. I want to say, and I could be wrong on that, but that just based on what I've been looking at, that's my understanding, is that dogs respond to that. And as Monique mentioned, yeah, calmer, slower, sustained notes, and of course those steady beats. You could try it, right? Just quietly. I do know one person used to have music on for her dog when she would go to work, and it was funny because she'd come home right around the time that NPR news would come on, and the theme song would play and the dog would howl, which and it happened every time, and we don't know why, but it just did it. So it's like, okay, it's listening clearly to what's happening here. So, who knows? I would say that it would be worth it. And the question too is, and I think Monique, you asked me this maybe once, the difference between streamed music and live music. So they're feeling the vibrations seemingly more when it's a live instrument. So I'm not sure what that looks like. That's definitely another thing that's worth looking into some more, but I would say it wouldn't hurt to play some quiet classical. And I think you're right though. Ozzy's the same way in terms of his energy. He's 7 now and he doesn't settle down very much. He's a little Velcro dog. Wherever I go, he goes. And if I'm unsettled, he is too. And as soon as I sit down and I relax, like, he is so calm right now here on my lap. He has barely moved. He's only been licking his lips. That's it. He's going to be darting all over the house, wondering what's going on. So, it's worth a try, and maybe try, okay, if I'm moving around and classical music is playing, is that different from when I'm just moving around and there's no music playing? So
I think that's an excellent way to start, with classical music while you're sitting versus classical music while you're moving, and just see if it has any effect on him.
I will definitely give this a try when he visits next time.
Good luck. Keep us posted.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, I don't have any more questions.
And he's very different with males.
Say that again. You're breaking up a little bit,
Females.
Cheryl.
I've noticed that about him. Like oh, okay. Sometimes I turn off the video helps. I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So I turned off my video. Sometimes I'm having some internet issues today, but he's different with males. So with my husband and my son, their temperaments are quieter and calmer. He's busy, go. He's
okay. You're really breaking up now. You're really breaking up now.
I don't know if you caught that.
What I heard was that there's something about different temperaments. Are the men calmer, are you saying?
Okay.
Yes, the men are calmer. She's typing in the chat. Okay. Well, yeah, animals are really, and I guess this is also a statement that is not true across the board. But I think animals can pick up on that kind of energy. Some animals may pick up on it more than others, may be more sensitive than others. But if you have a frenetic sort of energy about you and your animal is sensitive, then it's a good chance that your animal would pick up on that, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So do we have any more questions or comments? I think this is just so fascinating.
It's so fun. I just have one more thing to add, and it's regarding lyrics. So I know some animals, well, we know dogs. Well, we actually don't know. entirely what their vocabulary is, right? But they definitely pay attention to inflection and our voices. I'm thinking about Ozzy definitely when I say I could use the word O-U-T-S-I-D-E, because he's sitting right here. I can use that word. I can use the inflection that I normally use. And maybe it's a word that he does not have within his vocabulary. And but what does that look like in song? I wonder. I think there's probably some information on that. Somebody has probably done a study regarding that. So just what are those soothing words to a dog that we could include in lyrics, since we have people writing music for animals specifically now? I don't know, just an extra thought for students, especially, who have lots of wonderful questions.
Yeah. So here's a thought. We have there's one school that has, one of the schools that's going to be involved with YVI is a STEAM academy. But there's a sister school that is a performing arts academy. And I wonder if the songwriting, if there could be some coupling, if there could be just some kind of project where kids would compose music and write lyrics for it, and then get with the STEAM students and play the music for animals. I guess we would have to figure out how to get the animals there. But anyway, my mind is just turning like this. There's just so much that we can do. Yeah.
That's a great idea. I think musicians would be very interested in creating something like that for animals. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good connection there.
All right. And Danielle's pen is wagging. I can see the top.
The more you talk, the more I think of an awesome collaboration with our new music teacher. Thinking about how dogs would respond to prompts when the children sing. Instead of saying sit, sing sit in a different tone and see if the dog responds. Fabulous, okay?
Yes.
Can you imagine lay down in an opera voice and all of a sudden you see the dog we just changed dog training, okay?
That's right.
A career change for singers.
I love that.
Oh, gosh, yeah, it's fantastic. So, Julie, I just wanted to finish up. Tell us about Through Arts, your nonprofit.
Yeah, so what we do is we serve youth up to age 25 in visual and performing arts. We do different workshops. We just finished one that's a guitar workshop. So we go to different locations, or we have students come to us, and we've opened it up for online education as well in guitar, piano, voice, theater, and visual arts as well. So, yeah,
and tell us where you're located.
We are in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Okay.
And yeah, we started the nonprofit in 2019, which was right around the time, of course, that everything kind of happened in our world that turned us all upside down. But we're moving forward slowly and getting going, which has been great.
Okay. And I would like to ask our guests, Cheryl and Danielle, to introduce themselves as well, because the two schools that these ladies represent are going to be part of YVI, and so we'll be seeing each other on calls in the future. So Cheryl, just tell us about where you are and the school that you are working for, that you founded.
Okay. No, I didn't found it. I work for it. It was founded when I got there. But
Okay.
Holy Family School, Chicago, Illinois, and Holy Family Ministries is the name of the organization where we have the school, K through 8th Christian school. We have a preschool, Little Learners Academy. We have a camp and after school program, Adventures in Learning, and we have a youth leadership program called the Peace Exchange, and a resale shop called Lucille, Resale Reinvented. So that is Holy Family Ministries. And I'm the Chief Executive Officer for that organization.
Yes. at the helm, not the founder, but the CEO. I'm used to saying founder and CEO, so that's why I said that. Okay. Okay, so Danielle.
My name is Danielle Corbin. I am a 6th grade science teacher and urban garden teacher. I've been teaching 6th grade for the past 5 years, and having students connect careers in science as what's created an awesome reputation for our classroom. Last year, we invited Dr. Wells. She became our school. The students just fell in love with Dr. Wells. She would meet with them once a month, and we spearheaded the YVI book initiative in our classroom. And although we fought for it, it was definitely worth it. Our students truly benefited from the program, and they were the first group to receive certificates for participating. They conducted owl pellet labs, and they dissected plastic frogs, because they don't do labs in 6th grade, and I didn't want to touch dead frogs. I just didn't want to do it. However, now we do have a collaboration with a pet organization where they believe that reading to pets benefits them. I'm hoping that I can show them this video and they'll connect, maybe have the students listen to music along with the pets. It'll calm both of them before a lesson or before an exam.
Oh.
The thoughts of the anxiety that comes along with it. I've taken so many notes. I can't tell you how much I appreciate this, because I'm always looking for a different way to help students connect science with what they can be when they grow up. And 6th grade is that they're lost in an abyss. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate this today. Thank you.
And Danielle, tell everybody where you're from, where you're teaching.
Oh, I teach in the Bronx, New York.
What's the school, Danielle?
South Bronx Early College Academy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Danielle has been our champion. She's been with us since virtually the beginning. I think you were on our 2nd call, and she brought a student to the 3rd call. The student actually inspired the topic for the 3rd call and the speaker. And she's been with us ever since, and we've just forged a magnificent collaboration. And I'm just ever grateful, and I'm so glad that we are able to proceed with Sebeka and bringing in other schools now. So onward and upward for the Youth Veterinarian Initiative.
I'm so excited. This is going to be awesome.
Okay. All right. So if anyone has any last things to say, we're going to wrap up. Anybody have any last things to say?
Just a big thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
It was a huge, huge pleasure. And
Yes,
this recording will be put onto YouTube, and I will send the link out to everyone. And we're going to have another YVI podcast in 2 weeks. The same individual who thought she would be on this call today, she is a 4th year veterinary student, and she's the one with the Chihuahua, and she leaves the music on for her dog when she's away during the day. She is going to be speaking for our next podcast in 2 weeks. Her name is Antonia Nickelberry, and we'll just hear all about her journey to veterinary medicine and to veterinary school, and what she's experiencing now as a 4th year student. She's going into her clinical rotation year. And then from October, we're going to start only doing podcasts once a month, because the 2nd call that we will do every month will be the YVI Book Club. So hold on to your hats. We are going to have a fantastic year. I will say goodbye to you all. Thank you again for coming. Thank you, Julia, for a fantastic and inspiring and curiosity-provoking presentation. And we will see you all in 2 weeks on YVI. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.